and welcome to the 13th episode of Reaction Videos. Today in our studios, we have Usma, Ferry, and Masuma. The format of the show it would be we'll be showing our guests three videos and we'll be recording their reaction to those videos, and then we'll be asking them for their opinion, their thoughts, and comments after. Without further ado, we'll go to our first video. Studio, can we please have our first video?
Family affair. In the case of Hudaybiyah Paper Mill, once you look at the directors and shareholders, it's only the entire Sharif family, the immediate blood relations, and a few cousins who are also mentioned as directors. To look at the shareholding of Ramzan Sugar Mill, that gives you an idea that it is run by Chief Executive Officer Mr. Hamza Shehbaz Sharif.
Shehbaz Sharif is a younger brother of Nawaz Sharif. He was the leader of the Punjab Assembly while his brother was Prime Minister. He is accused of laundering tens of millions of dollars through the Ramzan Sugar Mill, a company owned by the Sharif family.
Accounts were opened in the name of these low-wage employees who do not come into the tax. Money used to be deposited in those accounts, and finally they used to land in the accounts of either Mr. Hamza Shehbaz Sharif, Mr. Sulaiman Shehbaz Sharif, or Mr. Shehbaz Sharif himself. This is another deposit, 13th May 2016, in the name of Mia Muhammad Shehbaz Sharif, an amount of 6,52,451 rupees deposited in an account by Mr. Masood Anwar. 1 crore and 90 lakh rupees being deposited in the account of Mr. Shehbaz Sharif by Masood Anwar. Now, you might ask, who is Masood Anwar? Masood Anwar, according to this investigation by the Federal Investigation Agency, was a low-level employee of Sharif family. Your own family member is the finance minister, and your other brother is the prime minister. So the entire banking chain was there to facilitate them. And I was talking to one of the sources in the investigation because once they investigated the bankers as to how it was happening under their nose and why they didn't stop all these activities, they said that people used to come with gunmen into the banks. And one of the female investigators said she was crying a banking official that what we could have done. The bank managers, they used to get a call from top executives in the bank. The banks themselves were part of this nexus of covering up the corruption of the Sharif family.
इंतहाई अदब के साथ मोहतरम चीफ जस्टिस साहब, मैं भी आपसे गुजारिश करता हूं कि मैंने भी आपको एक खत लिखा था, और ये खत जब मैंने आपको लिखा था, इसकी जो तारीख है वो तारीख है मोअज़्ज़ज़ चीफ जस्टिस साहब 12 जुलाई 2022, और उस पर जो रजिस्ट्रार थे ये रिसीव भी हुआ था, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट रिपोर्टर एसोसिएशन के जो सदर है उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि आपके दफ्तर में उन्होंने ये डिलीवर भी कर दिया था। और इस खत में मैंने आपको मोअज़्ज़ज़ चीफ जस्टिस साहब को नाज़रीन बताया था, और ये मैं आपके सामने इस खत का ये अक्स रख रहा हूँ कि मेरे पास इंतहाई मोतबर ज़राए से ये मालूमात आई हैं कि कुछ शरपसंद अनासिर उन्होंने मुझे जाली मुकदमों में मुलव्विस करने का प्लान बनाया है, ना सिर्फ मुझे दीगर सहाफ़ियों को भी उन्हें अगवा करने का, उनको जबरी तौर पे गुमशुदा करने का या उन्हें मारने का, और ये प्लानिंग की है चंद शरपसंद अनासिर ने। तो मोअज़्ज़ज़ चीफ जस्टिस साहब, ये मैंने आपको 12 जुलाई को ये ख़त आपको भेजा था, और इसमें मैंने इस्तदा की थी कि मुझे इंसाफ चाहिए और मुझे अदालत की प्रोटेक्शन चाहिए, और मैंने इसमें नाम क्या लिखे थे मोअज़्ज़ज़ चीफ जस्टिस साहब, उसके बाद आप खुद देख लेंगे ये वाक़यात।
Former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan was one of the first senior officials to visit the Islamabad home of investigative journalist Arshad Sharif, who was killed in Kenya on Sunday night. Many are praising Sharif as a man who dedicated his work to ending corruption and challenging the political elite.
You saw a shocking video of Arshad Sharif, who was one of the renowned investigative journalists in Pakistan, and the guy was rewarded in the form of he was shot dead for his investigation. The first clip that you saw was from his video behind closed door, where he was trying to uncover, he was basically doing his job, he was trying to uncover the facts behind the corruption of certain mafia. So you saw the video. We'll reach out to you for your comments. Uzma, welcome, and
thank you. Thank you, Mavish. Yeah, it really saddens me every time I see that, how this gem of Pakistan was assassinated, basically. When you watch that whole documentary behind the closed doors, you find out the mafia behind this whole operation that has been going on around the world, not just in Pakistan. So regime changes are part of it. And Arshad Sharif did a lot to uncover many things. And the closer he got to the truth, the harder it was for them to let him stay alive. I think we don't realize all the significant things that are going on in Pakistan right now are just part of a very big, vicious mafia happening that's going on all around the world. And that is why it's really hard for them to let it go. That is why they don't want to stop, because they know if they stop, this is it. They will all be exposed. They pretty much are, but more names will come out. More countries, more prominent people, more leaders of the different countries, their names will come out. And Arshad Sharif, I think, was assassinated because of that. His family, of course, lost their breadwinner, but we all lost. Pakistan lost their star investigative journalist. We all lost a person who was just amazing, not just as a journalist, but as a human being. And there's nothing that can ever replace that. But we have to make sure that all that he stood for does not go to waste, that we do something, that we continue to fight this, that we bring awareness, and we make sure that those who were behind it all are eventually exposed. We have
Absolutely.
a very good idea. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh, I absolutely agree because he was fighting for something. There was a cause, and this was a life lost for doing his duty towards us. He had, as a journalist, he was responsible to state facts to his people, which is Pakistani nation. So this is how he was rewarded, that he got assassinated. Nick, we'll go to Masuma. Masuma, welcome to the show, and your thoughts on our first video.
Yes, thank you so much, Mavish. Just like Uzma, I was really sad when I saw the video. Just looking at Arshad Sharif itself was, it was like a flashback of all the things that happened and the things that he was trying to tell us. When last year when regime change happened, he was the first person, few of those first persons who people who were openly talking about it. He was one of our best investigative journalists. It was really hard to watch. So when I was watching these videos, uh, what I felt was I kept thinking about his family. Actually, Arshad Sharif has left us. I kept thinking about his mother, his wife, his children, and all the things that they are going through. It's so hard for them to like survive without him as well. But the work that he has done, that must not stop. And we we have to continue raising our voice for him. It was I was just thinking, when I looked at the video, I was just thinking about his family. It reminded me of his mother standing in court asking for justice, and there's no justice for her or her kids. It is really hard. um, um, it was really upsetting.
That is indeed very upsetting because when we see him on screen now, you see a smiling face that used to greet in his daily show to his audience, and the next minute he's no more, and then you hear this news that this is what happened.
Yes.
So indeed, it is a very
Yeah, and like you said, like he paid the price, but he was not scared, right? The courage that he had. And then you know what, I also, when I looked at Arshad Sharif, I couldn't stop thinking about Imran Riaz too. These are all the things that were going through my mind. I'm like, okay, this person, unfortunately, he has left us, but there's so many other people that we need to continue raising our voice for. So I
we
kept thinking about all these people who are
continue
still
to wish.
here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Masuma. Fede, even though you probably have heard of Arshad Sharif for the first time, but you've seen the sentiments for him from his fellow country people, and you can now tell that how dedicated he was towards his work. So, your thoughts and comments regarding the video that you have just seen.
Yes, I mean, condolences to the nation as well as his family. But I think for me, it's not, yes, it's sad, but it's outrageous. The the nepotism and the corrupt nepotism that is being experienced internally uh, is just it should be a national outrage. And I believe that there can be justice for this journalism for this journalist, because I think Pakistanis have a national duty. If I very rarely cite any good demonstrations that the Americans do, because it often ends in disruptive trashing of cities and unnecessary violence. But I will cite a page from the anti-fascists of the United States when they in doxing people and finding out who these corrupt politicians are, who these corrupt bankers are, who these corrupt people are. I think Pakistanis as a nation have a duty to out these people anonymously or however they want to do it and continue the work of this journalist, because it doesn't have to end with him. It's not going to end with him. And I think Pakistan really has a national obligation as a unified nation to fight this corruption in being able to out these people and let society deal with it. If you cannot rely on the government, a corrupt government, to do the right thing, sometimes the people need to step up and do it. And I think
Absolutely.
sooner than later that we're going to need to see that happen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, all of you, for your thoughtful comments. With that, we'll go to our next video. Studio, can we have our next video, please?
तो वो जो मार रहे हैं ना, वो आप सबको एक एक करके मारेंगे, एक एक करके मारेंगे, याद रखना। अगर आपने सबने बचना है तो मिलकर बचना है, वरना बारी बारी कुट पै रही है। आज मेरी बारी है, कल आपकी बारी होगी। थैंक यू वेरी मच। मेरा मौक़िफ़ एक सियासी जमात को पसंद नहीं है, ट्रोलिंग करेगी। वो मार
Imran Riaz Khan, another journalist who was continuing the unfinished work of Arshad Sharif. One got assassinated, the other was abducted. Nobody knows his whereabouts. He does not have any cases against him, but no one knows his whereabouts. He hasn't been presented in any court, and we're just demanding for his release. It's just, again, he's just doing his job, and he is being rewarded as in the form of his disappearance. We'll go to Masuma. You first.
Yes, Mavish, like I was saying earlier when I was looking at Arshad Sharif's video, I was thinking about him. So, the best thing about Imran Riaz is that the motivational journalism that he does, he tries to inspire others. But it's so upsetting that he is also forcefully disappeared now. But looking at the video, I was already, I was talking about Arshad Sharif, and then I could only think about Imran Riaz. So for him as well, we really need to advocate for him. If you look at the background when he was abducted and then when he was disappeared, after that, there have been no court appearances. There's a mockery of justice as well, right? So it's really upsetting. All I can think of is the mockery of justice that is being made. Again, think about his family, think about his wife, his kids. They don't know if he's safe, if he's not. And you know what the worst part is, that in Pakistan, there's a ban on media now. There's not a lot of news. Not other journalists are even trying to raise voice for anyone. So that is upsetting, because all the situation that is piling up, it's just like an undeclared martial law, right? And then his lawyer as well.
Rightly said, because we are demanding for the release of these people, and he's just one of so many that they do not have any legal court cases. They're not being appeared. There are no court appearances, and we have absolutely no clue about their whereabouts.
Yeah.
We'll go to Ferry. You're next.
And the planned, I've never heard it framed like that, but planned disappearance, planned abduction. That's a page out of the Americans NDAA and Patriot Act of indefinite detention of citizens. It's outrageous. It's got to stop. People need to be able to have anonymous free space to be able to do the work that they need to do to bring justice to the people and get rid of corruption. And I just think that these kind of disappearances, without a heavy, swift response, will become more commonplace. And it's just something that sets a very dangerous precedent.
Thank you so much, Ferry. We'll go to Usma.
Thank you, Mavish. Thank you, everyone. So it's really ironic that when you hear Arshad Sharif talk about it, he knew what was going to happen. He mentioned it. He sent it to the court, to the justice. I'm not sure who he sent it to, but he sent it to one of the main people at the top, letting them know this is what is going to happen, but nothing was done about it. Then Imran Riaz also predicted what was going to happen to him. And again, everybody just kept ignoring it. And even Imran Khan had mentioned so many things that would happen, and they are happening. We all know. But we all are just watching it happen and not doing anything. It tells us everybody sitting at the top right now in Pakistan is part and parcel of the problem. All the positions that are being taken by corrupt people. And Pakistan will gain independence once all these corrupt people are removed. That's the only way about it. Imran Riaz's family, my heart goes out to them. There's so many like him who are right now basically not, there's no information about them. They are all part of the enforced disappearances. And no one knows where they are, what's happening to them, except the same people who are not talking. I just keep asking myself, what can we do? And just like you guys are doing this, I think this is the way to just keep raising awareness, to let the common people around the world know. Because yes, the leaders, many leaders around the world are part of this problem, which is why this is happening. Pakistan has the backing of those leaders, which is why this is happening. And the common people around the world need to know so they can vote for better people next time around, all around the world. Otherwise, countries like Pakistan will keep paying the prices for losing their amazing, amazing talent this way. And kudos.
I absolutely agree with you, Usman. That's probably one of the reasons behind the recent brain drain in Pakistan, that a lot of people intellectuals, they're trying to leave the country because they don't feel safe here. And as you have seen, we have two different stories, but it's kind of a similar script. Both are actually warning and requesting the government to provide them with the protection that was never provided, rather than it seems like it got facilitated by some resources, some powerhouses, and otherwise, disappearance and an assassination that planned. It's not the job of a common man, or there has to be masterminds or some really very organized planning behind these assassinations and disappearances. We'll go to our third and the last video.
Being is lucky. Sometimes during their life, they will ask themselves two questions. One, what is the purpose of my existence? And two, what happens to me after I die? And if they are luckier, they will find the answers in spirituality. Because science does not answer these two questions. In the spiritual world, it is not that I should live as a selfish life. which is what, if I wanted, I could have lived a very comfortable, selfish existence. In the spiritual world, you are responsible. The more the Almighty gives you, the more responsibility you have towards other human beings. Hence, my life turned from first to build a hospital for poor people, and then to enter politics and build a welfare state. So it is all part of that spiritual journey which comes from asking these two questions. Life and death is in Almighty's hands. And all you have in your hands is effort. We human beings, all we have is the ability to struggle. Whether we succeed or not is not in our hands, it's in Almighty's hands. So I do not fear death, I don't fear failure. All I know is that I will try my best. And once I've tried my best, I leave it to the Almighty. So whatever is His decision, I'll accept it as the will of God.
So you've heard the man himself and his ideology and what he believes in, and the people might wonder what's his source of power, and he just answered that. So we'll ask you for your thoughts, Fedi, first, and then we'll move on to the others.
Definitely powerful words from a intelligent and wise man. I admire his spiritual philosophy. We all have really great potential, but really how it's seen through is up to the Almighty. And depending on what your belief system is, it could be a variety of things, but in this case, it is God. And the man has conviction, and you don't see true conviction in many people on the political scene, internationally and globally. So somebody who is as sound as he is, with a strong conviction, speaks very well of his moral compass. And it's a man that really has the national best interest for his country and his people. And it is definitely somebody that I've grown fascinated to follow.
That was really very thoughtful, Fede. And just imagine he is right now in prison for some bogus cases, and I'm sure you have a little more information on the cases that he's being charged with. So a God-fearing person with such ideology, and when you try to put these two thoughts together, they don't add up. So thank you for your comments, and we'll go to Uzma next.
Thanks, Navish. I don't know. There's just something about Imran Khan. Every time he comes, you're all drawn to him and you're listening to him, but you're also feeling very emotional. I think he's woken all of us up, and he's touched our spirituality. To think they are trying to break a person like that by the way they are treating him is just horrible. All the things that are being done to him, from trying to record him to not providing him with his rights, even in the jail, including the fact that he's being kept there as a prisoner, whereas he should be a free man because he didn't do anything wrong. And you keep finding the reason to continue believing by listening to him, by watching him, and by getting your courage from him. And if he can do all that he's doing, then we have no excuse when we try to say we're not going to do any of this. The solitary confinement they are keeping him in is just ridiculous. Like they think they're going to break him. They're actually making him closer to Allah even more, because his spirituality, his courage comes from divine intervention. You see it every time he's being saved by the Almighty, that he is a true believer. And that's why I feel there's no way that he's going to be left alone by Almighty himself. We have to realize that we are the ones who are losing if we're not standing up for him, if we're not taking the chance to continue and to fight for him, because he's done all he has done. And it's up to us now to take on the torch and continue walking the steps and doing everything we can to bring him back as our prime minister. And inshallah, with Allah's help, we will. will make it happen.
Thank you so much, Usma, and I absolutely agree. And he's the man with faith, with spirituality. He's resilient, and he has given us hope. And that's his source of power. And like you said, I would agree that they're keeping him in that solitary confinement because they want to break him. But with a man with such strong beliefs, it's impossible. And I guess they would be surprised too, because I guess he's in there, and they thought the plan is to weaken him, but he's going to come out stronger. Masuma, what would you say?
Yes. There's a famous saying in Urdu, jise Allah rakhe, usse kaun chake. So, you know what? That's listening to Imran Khan again, inshallah. He will be out of the prison. We will be listening to all his speeches again. But it was truly inspiring listening to him one more time, like this one. So, like Uzma said, like everyone said, when you listen to this, when he talks about spirituality, these are all his life experiences, right? And he shares those with others. He tries to inspire others. That's a perfect example of true submission to God, right? When you put your trust in something, it's just like you're jumping off of not a cliff, but you're jumping from a higher place, and you think you have that belief that you will be saved. So that's how he is, and he's not a politician. He's a leader. And inshallah, he will be out of prison. All his speeches, all of his motivational speeches, they're just so amazing. Like sometimes all I do is that I just put them on and I keep listening to them. It is something that keeps us all moving. But this particular part where he's talking about true submission, that is, I think, our belief, not only as a Muslim but also like as a human being. You should believe in that, right? Because if you show true submission, you're content, and your life also gets better. So inshallah, Imran Khan will be out of the prison, and we will all be. Until then, we must not stop, and we have to continue his message. Like he always says, you only lose when you give up hope. So we are still hopeful, and we will continue moving, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Masuma. And I would agree, and I would add to your point that they're keeping him in to for us to give up. But we as a nation, we have learned a lesson well, because Imran Khan is an excellent teacher. He's not only a leader by leading by an example, but he's an excellent teacher.
Yeah.
Every morning we used to hear his voice, "Mere Pakistaniyo," my Pakistani, my Pakistanis, and then he would inform us about give us the information, the legal information about the cases, and he would tell us about our history, ancestral history. He would tell us about our political history. He would tell us what Pakistan has been through, the stages that we have, the phases that we have crossed, and the timings that our ancestors have lived, and then he would compare it to the present time, and then he would paint a picture of a brilliant future that is more or less similar to what it was with our ancestors when they used to rule the region. And I guess he has given us that hope. He has shown us that dream, and during that short tenure of his, he has given us a little example of that as well. So we do know that it is possible, and that's what every Pakistani's belief is right now. And they won't be able to break him with beliefs that strong, with that kind of attitude. It's impossible for anyone to break him. And I guess since a leader leads by example, and we have him as an example in front of us, it is now our duty to fulfill his mission. They're just keeping him in because particularly for Freddie, because we've been following Pakistani news on regular basis, but they're not even allowing him to appear in court, so that because we
He
gain
can't even. Wow.
they won't let him appear in court. You cannot hear him. He's in solitary confinement. On all those bogus cases, even the judicial system, some of the judges would say that, hey, these cases stand no chance. But the only reason for keeping him away from the public eye is to break that hope, that strength, that nation that he has built in the past 27 years of his life. So, with that said, thank you so much, all three of you, for joining us this evening. And it was lovely listening to your thoughts. And we will hopefully have you guys again with us in future. And as for our viewers watching our program, if you would like to be a part of our show, please leave a comment under this video, and one of our team members would be reaching out to you, and you can be a part of our show as well. Thank you so much, Uzma, Fedi, and Masuma. Have yourself a lovely evening.